Hey everyone, it's Rycon here, and I am thrilled to bring you what is possibly my last Middle-earth Shadow of War any percent run. Now, like always, we've got to show our deletion progress, so that's what I just did there. And just a heads up, this has been recorded over a few days as I am fairly unwell at the moment, so if you hear my voice change at all, that's why. But let's get into it. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, this is probably my last 90% run for a while. I'm a little bit unwell at the moment, so I'm struggling to run. And on top of that, I'm really happy with this run, like legitimately happy. It was not perfect by any means, but definitely one of my best runs, obviously my best in terms of PB, but I'm just overall very comfortable with what I did, and I don't feel like pushing the record anymore. So you're probably thinking to yourself, hey Rakan, why the post-commentary voiceover? And to be honest, I was practicing for ASM, our Australian speedrunning marathon. So I was focusing 100% on just practice, and I wasn't really doing any of my usual commentary. I think that's why the run is so good, and probably why I'm going to be leaving it here for now.
We must find a worm and make him talk.
I always call that the hardest trick of the game. It's a bit funny, but for me personally, I don't know why I screw that up like 20-30%, even though it's literally sprint out of a bush, go into stealth at the last second, and press drain. Very simple. But here, we're essentially sprinting forward as fast as possible. We do technically have a focus meter, but we can't see it, and we won't use it by the time we get here anyway. And we head into our bow tutorial now.
Manswine! It's the Grave Walker! I thought he was dead. He is! Valiant the bow.
Pretty much a perfect bow tutorial from me. Yes, there were a few things I could have probably improved, but I'm very happy with how that went. That usually goes a lot slower than that.
We need to target their captains. He's close.
The Wraith world will reveal his presence.
Wave 4! Form up! It's yours!
Not a perfect captain fight, as you can see. I got slapped around by a couple of orcs there quickly. However, I do get this trick where we pull in the sword as Idril comes out. It skips a very tiny cutscene, and it saves about 2 seconds.
Do you hear that, Ranger? They're closing the gate.
Then let's cut a path up there.
Sergeant Harris,
Now here, you can see I start the battle with a single shot. That is actually on purpose. For some reason, the very first of these fights, and there's 3 of them total, the orcs all have 1 HP, so the first attack will just kill them. So we can just quickly fire off a donkey shot, which is what we call an unpowered shot, and get into the fight and get the humans actually dealing damage. Until that point, they won't actually be dealing damage to the orcs, so you want to trigger that as soon as possible.
If something doesn't look good for weeks. Sergeant Dagon and his men are at the arena.
Here, we don't really, because it's an escort mission, we really only want to stay in front of Idril, which I failed to here for a second.
lost the middle city.
However, we managed to catch up, get in front of her, sprint off, and then we can just wait for our focus to recover because we've got plenty of time while Idril is slowly running.
The middle city is lost.
Pulling back! Go! Go! Sergeant Dagon, we're pulling back.
Faster, Ranger.
And that's the first mission done. That little drain at the end there was just to skip a slowdown cutscene, about 1.5 2 seconds. Doesn't cost us much time to do it, so it'll be the best 1 point we can take for speedrunning. So I usually explain this at this point in the run anyway. There are 2 types of cutscenes in this game. There are in-game cutscenes can, so we'll only be watching the one.
We will dismantle his hold on Minas Evil. We will shift the tide of war.
These Hydia are but dark imitations of the Palantir. But we can turn Sauron's low craft against him.
These towers can give us sight.
We will purify them and make them ours. Here we see all that has been lost, and all that will be lost if his city is built on the ruins of my kingdom. Yet some things remain.
You're probably wondering at this point why I'm running in English. English is not the fastest language. Well, actually it kind of is. Sometimes it is. It's a little bit complicated, but let's quickly go over it. Technically, on average, French is the fastest. It is fast by about 0.8 seconds every time you have to talk to an orc during an opening line, a closing line, a death-defying line, those kind of lines. However, because I'm practicing for an upcoming marathon and there are a couple of audio cues I need in this game, I was practicing on English because the marathon's going to be in English. As much as I like running in French, it's not a very good viewing experience for a major English audience to watch a game in French. Anyway, this is quickly the Elven Rage cutscene. Our goal here is just to cleave down as many units as quickly as possible. It doesn't matter if it's ours or theirs. And we're just looking for big juicy cleaves. So some of them here are working, some of them aren't. We're going to get it here. Activate our Elven Rage. And we must get a gold ranking on this Elven Rage. It is hugely important to the run because a gold ranking will guarantee get us a white gem, which we can insert into our gear later for XP.
Will this siege ever end?
To the gates, quickly!
Right, so this has always interested me, this little skip that we're about to do here. So we're going to blow up this barrel. Hopefully we kill all the orcs here. We've got one left, but we can quickly stealth kill him. And we'll try to move as far away as we can. The camera will kind of snap back to Idril. It'll be low poly in the background because Idril shouldn't be that far away when we kill all those orcs. But this is our first unintended sequence break from the developers. It's only a little one. The game expects us to follow Idril here. However, the trigger is actually just getting in range of this siege beast. And you'll see us here, we'll kind of just be shunted up here. And we'll be moved to the in-game cutscene.
The city can't take much more. I'll handle the siege beasts.
Baranor and I can manage here.
Tarion, we must commandeer one of the siege beasts.
Well, this should prove interesting. Let's see what this thing can do.
Another siege beast is in range. Destroy it.
We're done here. We can't leave this siege beast for the enemy.
Pity we can't take it with us. It's a formidable weapon.
Now here you're going to see the only time we use Elven Rage for its pretty unknown property. It slightly increases your movement speed, enough for it to be worth it here. We're going to get a free refill on the next siege beast regardless, so we may as well just use it.
It'll be a matter of time till they find a Palantir.
I was thinking of Gondor. I know what to do here. More attackers. These hordes are endless.
Sauron's armies have grown massively.
Now usually this siege is done in a completely different order, however I decided to try something new and it actually worked much better. Going for the back siege beast before killing the front siege beast meant that I had much more time to get my shots on the orcs correct, and the final shot was far quicker. And with that, we have the mission, the Ruins Pacifist percent, over and done with. On to the next mission.
Another attack will surely follow. We should return to the upper city, check on Idril and the others.
Here we've got a lot of things to do. We've first got to open up our inventory slot, open up our gem slot in our chest, and insert that white gem that we got from a previous mission. That'll give us increased XP. Next, we're going to unlock the execution skill, which we'll talk about a bit later, and we're going to grab the campfire skill, which lets us teleport to campfires and make them explode. We really use it more so for the teleport part and not for the exploding part. Finally, we're going to move on to my favourite zone in the game, which is Cirith Ungol. This is called an encounter window. These pop up the first time you meet a new enemy type, including orcs or beasts. In this case, this was for the Grog. We don't actually care that much when the Grog one happens. However, there are very specific events in the game that we want to have the encounter windows already read for. For instance, coming up soon, we want to make sure that we have the Caragor one triggered before we see the Caragor in an actual mission. Here we're going to trigger that Caragor I talked about before. We're going to do this now so that later in a mission, when an orc is riding a Caragor, he doesn't get alerted to us by spinning around and being forced to face the camera. Here we're meant to have our first difficult fight with an Olog. However, if we just sprint to the left, we can trick him into climbing on top of this building. Now, exploding this barrel, Ologs just die when they're on the roofs, and an explosion goes off nearby. So, easy fight. Now this is technically an escort, but thankfully we never get far enough away from Gollum where it's a problem, so we can just sprint off. Here I'm going to be taking all of the free jumps by jumping over these little rocks and then pressing spacebar. This is to let my focus recharge during the cutscene, because my focus continues to count back up while I'm in this cutscene trigger and it's all loading. So you see I'll come out of this cutscene and I have full focus again.
The assassin must be stopped. Gollum, you know where to find him?
Yes, we recognized his curved blade.
Alright, so here we're not going to take the exact intended route. We're actually going to go a little bit to the right. This is so we can shoot down this nest early, even though I actually miss it this time around. And it skips a little cutscene. So, half a second to a second time save, but it's a good habit to get into.
Only a Morgul blade could have caused these wounds. We're on the right track.
Now, if you're wondering why I'm not sprinting off straight away, this is intentional. This is still an escort mission. Gollum acts a little bit differently to Idril. Gollum will always follow you. However, Gollum's pathing, he must hit very specific points on the map to trigger the next instance. So, If Gollum didn't walk to his next objective, this orc would never spawn. So to manage that, we sort of keep a certain range within Gollum, trying to not get too far away from him, so that he, instead of going to his next point, he tries to follow us instead and breaks his pathing completely. You then have to run back with him, and then he has to walk to that point again, so it's a huge time loss if you don't manage Gollum correctly in these scenes. We'll see here I've been managing him correctly. We'll know that because this upcoming fight will spawn correctly. So if you don't see this little in-game cutscene here that stops you for half a second, it means you've done it wrong. And of course, we just take care of this very quickly with Elven Rage, and then use the rest of Elven Rage's increased movement speed to sprint to the next objective. Basically, once you've triggered that, you don't have to worry about escorting Gollum anymore. You should always make it to the next marker.
Stay another victim. Yet this one still lives.
You are mine!
Very quick optimization here. You can jump off this cliff as the in-game cutscene triggers to show you where the orc is.
The war chief is useless.
Here is the first of my noticeable mistakes. The route that I took meant that one of his guards saw me, so I was not able to get a stealth attack on him, meaning I had to improvise here and do a bit of extra damage. This is probably about a 15-second time loss, but thankfully I wasn't able to trigger his opening lines, meaning that the run could continue, because if you do trigger his opening lines, it gives his guards enough time to get around you, and that can lead to a fight going out of control very, very fast.
Idril and customers should be safe for now.
But the siege of Minas.
Now this is actually the second time we use the teleport to fireplace trick, however it's much more visible here on how much time save. It takes about 45 seconds to run around that ditch compared to just teleporting over there.
The assassin had one more target on his list. We should finish what we started and kill the war chief's final bodyguard.
Did you hear?
Baranor! You can't have run out of orcs in the city.
There are a few left, but we're hunting one in particular. The last bodyguard of the war chief leading the siege.
I think we're after the same orc. And the way to a war chief is through his bodyguards.
You sound like you've had some experience in this.
I absolutely hate these stupid footprint puzzles. Thankfully this is the last one in the run, but you can see I am struggling with it far more than I should be.
This is the end! Kill him! Sorta like the sound of that.
Now if you remember before we talked about getting the Caragor beast encounter, this is why. If we had not got this encounter, that beast would be forced to spin around and face us so we could see the window. But it also means that the captain riding is now facing us, and our chance to get a stealth attack on them is far lower because of that. Here you'll see me do a little roll at the end. That is intentional. That Caragor can sometimes pin you down right as the cutscene transitions, and either softlocks your game or prevents this cutscene from spawning for about 15 to 20 seconds.
You'll join them soon enough.
Here is another level up sequence. Unfortunately, I get a little bit confused here as my XP is just a slither away from being the right level, or where we'd expect to be leveled, so I can't take Caragor riding right now. I don't need it for the next fight, but it's usually taken there just as a convenience sake. Here is the second of my big mistakes. For some reason, I just cannot hit this barrel, so I run in close to try to hit it. Unfortunately, I got a bit too close to the poison explosion, and that completely wipes out all of my focus, so no sprinting for me. We need to blow up that barrel because we need the Elven Rage for later on. You can see I've got a slither of it just on the right side of my map. I need that completely full in 2 missions time.
Lives can be saved. If the war chief from my vision is the same one Baranor and his men are hunting, they will need help.
One war chief makes little difference.
Right now, this one... Baranor, I'm here to help. This war chief you're after.
This is probably my favourite of the stealth missions. It flows really well, and there's a bunch of cool techniques that we're going to do throughout.
Extra sword.
And we shall take him down together. I'll take out his archers first. Your men move in after I've cleared the path.
Here, I'm trying to snipe the last of the Elven Archers. Unfortunately, it is RNG where they're standing, so I'm trying to manipulate where they're going with the lure ability.
We usually work alone. I hope the aim of these Gondorian archers is true. Otherwise, we'll be dodging friendly arrows.
They're experienced soldiers. They'll do their part.
Elven archer would be worth 3 Gondorian archers.
Really? Only 3? Never underestimate men fighting to protect their home.
This is not their home.
Finally, after 3 attempts, I'm able to get him close enough to the barrel where I can make him explode. Now it's just a simple climb to the tower and some really fast-paced action.
Time to signal Baranor's men.
Ah, the lovely smell of manfood. Nothing is sweeter. Together, we will crush their defenses and grind them to dust. Together, as captains and war chief united, we will have victory. Together, we take the city at dawn. Set them ablaze!
So as soon as we come out of this cutscene, we've got a lot to do and not much time to actually do it. We need to blow up these barrels quickly before the Gondorian archers get to them. We need to trigger that because we need the Elven Rage. Next, I'm going to try to shoot this Orc war chief in the foot to pin him. However, in this one weird case, I missed, that's not weird, but I've never actually seen him climb this building here. It usually would be a great thing because he's completely isolated himself from the other captains. However, as you can see there, my stun didn't land because I triggered it too early. I then hit him with an auto attack, which triggers his opening lines, which is a huge time loss. So this is the second of the larger mistakes in this run.
Belly today, and I'll drink yours first.
I'd say we're even.
I take off running here and then have to immediately turn around and go back because I noticed a sword in the arena. The sword, while a minor DPS upgrade, at this point in the run, even 1 damage is worth it to go back. It is incredibly crucial for an upcoming Nazgul fight to have every ounce of DPS we have.
What was that? I'm dying. Come back, mad
Here I'm just looking for a teleport, but those orcs are getting in the way. And now I'm going to quickly farm some extra Elven Rage, because the next upcoming fight, I 100% need Elven Rage. It is an incredibly long and arduous fight without it.
Blade Master, we knows how you can find the traitor.
Take us to him.
Our war chief speaks to him through a messenger. Look there, do you see? The dark mistress offers her little ones. And filled with her children. Wake them and seize what they do.
I always brag about this being one of my most favourite strats I ever came up with. So, in the mission normally, we're meant to run through the whole place, listen to that messenger, he stops, he talks to a bunch of guards, etc. You shoot him once, and all of a sudden he's aware of you. He doesn't, however, set off the alarm. So what that means is he will just run, absolutely book it to the end of this area. It saves around 1.5 minutes, and it was one of the most boring and arduous points of this run. Here we're summoning the guards, and they're going to take out the 3 on the left while I'm going to focus on the 3 on the right. Now, if you're doing this strat, you have to make sure that after they've killed the 3, you need to desummon them, because they will actually attack and even kill the messenger. And here I desummon them and I get in the perfect position. We're going to use what we call the difficulty abuse here. Brutal is an interesting difficulty because it not only increases the damage orcs do a lot, but it increases your damage. And that's amplified further when you use Elven Rage.
Manbreaker! The Grave Walker is here. He's after me. I didn't tell him anything about the traitor. I swear.
How many times have I told you all? Never speak of the traitor openly. Let this miserable dead glob be an example to the rest of you. The next maggot to even whisper the word traitor around me will get worse!
And there you can see a perfect fight with no opening lines. This is a technique where we actively try to abuse the Nemesis system. Because we haven't encountered any orcs in this area, and I'm spamming spacebar on that one orc, I'm trying to get that orc promoted. And what will happen is later in the game we have to come back here. Whichever orc we encountered most in the zone will most likely be promoted. When they are, it'll leave a spot open. In this case, that was the only remaining war chief for this area, so it would mean I'd have a war chiefless Kirith.
They seem to like their champion's chances. And it must be said, he has size on his side.
True, but you and I have him outnumbered.
They cheer for you. Cheer for blood.
This is the arena fight. I do it on easy because it makes it easier to sneak up to the other combatants and stealth attack them. And it doesn't exactly go to plan, but it's close enough.
You fought well. Too well.
I came into this arena
To fight Sauron's champion! I am still waiting!
Yum, yum, yummy! Crowd wants a show, and they're gonna get one. And that show is called Ranger Getting Torn to Pieces by the toughest Uruk in Mordor! Stupid son! Tear him apart!
No, this isn't over. Not yet.
He's done. Now he's bleeding a bit.
He's right here!
Reckon this fight won't entertain too many globs? Be over pretty much before it starts, by the look at this coward. Long time you and I have been at this. Going all the way back to Udu. I'm tired of you stretching this out forever. Here's an idea. Stretch out your neck so I can take your head off it. A place for me to put
Thankfully, that's the arena done. No more real major mistakes left for the early game.
Let us hope Idril found her father.
All that matters is the Palantir. It cannot fall into the Witch King's hands.
Personally, this has always been one of my absolutely favourite missions. It's a combination of that ridiculous stealth is absolutely optional, so let's go full explosives, because if everyone's dead, there is no stealth needed. But it also flows so well, in my mind. It's just super fun to play, and I love every time I get up to this in a run.
Thank you. We thought us. We don't know what we'll find, Idril. Prepare yourself. Come, we must escape. We must leave this foul place.
I am in your debt, Ranger. My lady, they've taken the general to the wall.
Head back to Minisethal. The Ranger and I will find the general.
The Ranger!
Idril, we need to clear the camp before we go to Castamere.
Quickly then.
Quickly, before more arrive.
Father, we...
Quickly!
We must return to Shelob. She can show the location of the Palantir.
The Palantir is here. The war is here. We must weaken Sauron's hold on Minas Ithil.
Alright, it's time for the final mission of Act 1. This is where the early game finishes, and to be honest, it's kind of a boring mission. We've got a lot of objectives we need to do. We need to get our Elven Rage up, we need to make sure we see the drag, we need to make sure that our Caragor has enough might so we can perform the Caragor donk, but there's so much time here that we end up sort of sitting for 40-50 seconds and waiting, and then we immediately have to go into a fight with the Nazgul, and we try to perform one of the hardest tricks in the game, the high ground trick. But when doing it on Nazgul, it is so much more difficult than regular orcs. And I was so incredibly happy that I managed to get the high ground glitch on a Nazgul in my final PV. In the case, one of the hardest glitches in the game. It requires not only positioning from the Nazgul, it requires positioning from you and timing. It is insanely difficult, and I am just ecstatic that it happened in a run.
Come, Ranger.
Why do we always have to do it? Oi, get the Ranger!
We must move.
Our greatest assets are the power of the ring.
And there we have it, Act 1 done. Now we're on to Act 2. We finally get the ring back and we're able to start building our army. And we started off with the single worst stealth mission in the game. The reason why I hate this stealth mission is because this game is a console built and then PC ported game. There is no way to unbind the stealth brand from the, hey, let me yeet myself off a cliff in front of these archers. Because these archers have a, if they see you, the mission fails. There is a little bit of coyote time there, but it happens more often than not where we're trying to go super fast, the archer will see us for just half a second too long and we'll fail the mission and be set back to the start of this area.
Already our army consumes that of the Dark Lord. The ring will give us an army, and then it will give us Mordor.
The Witch King's boys have all the fun! Die, man! Die!
They are powerless to resist. Let us test our warriors.
Who shall abide?
They're trying to kill us all!
beginning. We require more warriors. Stronger warriors.
I've had enough of your mouth, Bruise. So now I'm gonna kill you. For all these orcs to see.
Always said you were an optimist. Know what that is, mate? It's about sizing up a situation that's bloody impossible and saying, yeah, all right, I'll have a go. I'm exactly the same way.
I like him.
I like to point it out every time it happens, but this is another instance of the game breaking its own rules. We are not high enough level to actually brand Bruise in this case. However, for story reasons, the game's just going to let us do it.
Reckon you're going to skewer me? Ah, that little sword's good for a tickle, maybe. But you're gonna need more than that to take me down.
Submit to me, you sir.
Weakening enemy power is important. But what is most crucial for conquest is strengthening our own forces.
Shoutouts to Gannis Ultima, the former world record holder before me, who I'm the former world record holder. A little bit of a confusing sentence. But I want to remind him that this is one of the strategies that he came up with. When we first started doing this fight, Kanan was a huge pain. The Karagor, the Grog especially, and the Drake were all really, really annoying. Thankfully, a little bit of clever rerouting, and we now have Elven Rage to deal with Kanan very, very easily. I will also point out that Kaiser, the current world record holder, came up with a really interesting strat to do a quick kill on the Karagor here. I don't do the quickest kill method, but I still use a slightly older quick kill method.
They hear her song. They are part of her as she is part of them. Yet they will defend.
Cut me loose, Talk. I found it.
Well, that wasn't there before.
Keeper of the Wild, Kanan!
Who do you call to? take it this is also nature.
In all its fury, Capricornus, one does not reason with the wind.
It seems this ring has woken.
Alright, just a quick bit of gear checking, leveling up again, and it's time for what used to be the worst split in the game. This is the recruitment split. Previously, we would have to find 3 orcs our level to recruit, or we'd have to find high level orcs and shame them down. And then if you shame multiple orcs in a row, you'd sometimes get one that became the unashamed, and it would get really, really bad. Thankfully, we have a new glitch. If you haven't seen the hide by email glitch, check it out on my site, or check out Urik's Hollow video on it. He does an amazing job of showing the glitch in a bit more showcase, whereas I show it from more of a speedrunner, here's how you do it. So watch both, watch either, but it is well worth your time. It is the pinnacle of glitches. However, to do that, first we need to take this Hadia for fast travel, and we also need to have at least one captain on our side. So, let's go captain hunting.
Whatever you want, Bright Lord.
How you going, Bright Lord? Well, see you're expanding already. Beauty. You know what you should do? Is make that bloke your bodyguard. Anyone looking to carve his way across Mordor needs a guard or two. I mean, I don't. I mean, obviously. If it ever got to the point where I needed a hand on the battlefield, I'd cut my own throat. But you should have some added muscle. No shame in it.
Alright, and for anyone who hasn't seen it, that was the hide by email glitch. It is literally that simple. The only thing you need is a controller. It does work on all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, PC. You just need a controller.
boss. Got yourself another hanger-on, have ya? You'll have a proper army in no time. But you gotta remember, an army needs orders to follow. And I'll tell you what's always a popular one. Murder. Command that new follower of yours to gut some bugger you don't like, and that'll free you up to gut somebody else at the same time. And remember to keep the target's weaknesses in mind. If he's terrified of fire, there's nothing funnier than sending someone to clobber him with a fire weapon. Oh, that's proper music, that is.
Zoom.
Right, Lord. That bloke you recruited is a sneaky bastard. He'd make a top backstabber. What you want to do is to make him bodyguard to a war chief, so you can, well, stab him in the back. Of course, no war chief's gonna take on a bodyguard unless he's proved himself, and the place to do that is in the fight pits. How does surviving a few rounds make you trustworthy? No idea, but it's a bloody good laugh. And you'd be a drongo to trust an orc anyway, so it all works out. Go on, have a go.
Zoom.
Now, this is where the downsides of the hide by email glitch starts to show. Yes, we got through recruiting insanely fast. Yes, we only need to find one orc. However, we're now under-leveled, and we have to fight not one, but 2 war chiefs in this siege. So it goes a bit slower than some of my previous splits. However, the benefits of HBE massively outweigh the detriments or the downside.
My black speech is a little rusty. Actually, I don't know a single word. Language is a pain in the ass, but to hazard a guess, he said you're all gonna die horribly. Yeah, my kind of black.
I will handle the Overlord. You focus on the defenders.
Define focus. Leave it to me. I'll have this down quick as.
We're taking this fort!
Make them pay!
You maggot!
Stay away from my fortress, or I'll crush you like the man dung you are.
He's acting brave. Kill him! We need to press on to the courtyard.
Ripper gear this lot has. Maybe I'll pick up a sword for myself. I could use a new toothpick.
Pick your teeth later. Right now, we need to take the fort.
Ah, righto, boss. I'll chew my way right through it.
This is your end! I've got you now! The tide is turning against you! A tide of Uruk iron! You think some little bird will slow us down?
I fancy this fort capturing business. And once this one's yours, you'll need a new overlord. I'd like to throw my hat in that ring.
What have I unleashed?
His potential is nearly unlimited.
Righto. Now I'll...
We fought and suffered, but still we stand! There is a new power in Mordor! You! In the days ahead, we will fight other battles and claim other fortresses! But starting today, Mordor belongs to you! Mordor belongs to the Bright Lord!
Now we have a foothold in Mordor.
We should upgrade our defenses before attempts to reclaim what he has lost.
And there are more fortresses to conquer, and the Palantir.
Almost forgot to tell you one last thing. Now that you have my fort, it will eventually come under attack, which you already know since you attacked it once yourself. Nicely done, by the way. The thing is, you don't always need to be on the defense. You have scouts who can sniff out enemy forts, so you can go on the attack yourself. You know what they say, the best offense is a good offense. And don't worry about running low on orcs. If you ever need new recruits, you go talk to a glob they call the Headhunter. He'll sort you out. Oh, Shrock! I forgot to fill Ranger's feeding bowl before I left. Oh, he's gonna be cranky if I don't get back. I'm coming, Ranger!
Dudes. Thrak. Zoon. Gubu. Hogleek. Hogleek.
So this may look really weird, but this is a legitimate strategy. Later on, we're going to have to fight Bruce in his throne room, and we cannot summon our Caragor. The only way we can manipulate RNG here is to give one of our followers a Caragor, or if they already have a Caragor, and then cast them out of our army. Later, that will mean that they're more likely to be picked to be in Bruce's throne room, which means they bring their Caragor in and gives us the ability to donk people later on. This is essentially an auto-scroller. We can't gain time here, but we can lose up to 40 seconds if our orcs decide to flounder around. Essentially, it's two AIs combating each other, and we've just got to hope that ours wins quickly or ours loses quickly.
When they have a go at some other geezer. They're always bringing in tough orcs to fight, and if your fella survives, he'll be stronger for the experience. If he snuffs it, well, the one who done him in has what it takes, so there's a potential new recruit. And however it shakes out, your boys will love watching the show. Nothing boosts morale up like bodies going down.
It's a traitor! Move it! I always knew you were traitors!
See? Wasn't that a good time? Grog was drunk, laughs were had, blood was shed, and Grog was drunk. Ah, there's no fight like a pit fight.
And finally, after over an hour and 10 minutes, that's the end of the game holding our hands. This is essentially where the tutorial stops, where the map completely opens up, and we're finally able to go and do what we want. So of course, we immediately travel to the last zone in the game, and we're doing this so we don't have to make an additional trip to Seragos later on. The first thing I'm going to do here is that my Elven Rage is not where it needs to be. There is an incredibly amazing skip coming up, but it requires you to have full Elven Rage, so I'm going to go farm that. While I'm farming, let's talk about world states, as that's the most important thing for this game. To unlock the final mission, we need to have the world in a certain state, obviously why I'm calling it world state. First, we need to make sure that the Balrog is taken care of. That's what this mission chain is leading up to. Second, we need to make sure we've at least taken the fort back from Bruce. Spoiler alert, he's going to betray us soon, and we're going to have to take the fort back from him. Third, we need to reunite the humans, make sure they're all happy and together, and then they immediately split off, so it was kind of pointless reuniting them, but I digress. And finally, we need to do a certain number of Atarial missions. We don't need to do all of them, and we don't need to do them in order, but there are very specific ones we need to hit. We're also required to have all of the forts in the game, except for the DLC fort. We don't need that one. And once we do all of that, we'll finally unlock the final mission of the game.
There will be blood for this! Can't we just get back to war? Kill that cannibal first!
Here you get to see the biggest weakness of me as a runner. My hands shake a little bit due to arthritis, and that causes me to miss a few of my shots here. I'm not trying to make excuses, I should be able to land these by now. I've been playing the game for a very long time. However, I do lose about 45 seconds here compared to the world record. Here, we hope for good RNG. There is a 50-50 chance that Zog is dazed by fire, and unfortunately in this circumstance he is not. The reason why we're so scared of Zog is because he has a cursed weapon. One strike from Zog, and he's a very quick attacker, will completely remove all of our Elven Rage, meaning that we cannot do any skips in the Balrog fight at all.
You really shook the world with that ring-forging trick of yours. After that, Targaroth only needed a little coaxing. Now, it rises to the surface, and it comes for you. Don't be sad. It doesn't end here. I will wake all the dead of Mordor before we're done. All the lives you ended. And once they're risen, who do you think they'll come for? Oh yes, we'll meet again. Swallowed by the darkness!
We must fire into its bag.
And unfortunately, here you get to see my second biggest mistake. At the time, I had no idea what was going on, but looking back at the footage now during editing, I know exactly what I did wrong. I activated Elven Rage way too late, and that meant that I couldn't damage the Balrog in this phase with Elven Rage, and it loses me around 2.5 minutes here, because I actually have to do this fight as intended rather than skipping an entire phase. Very, very frustrating, and I nearly rage quit here. I'm very glad I didn't, but this is probably the biggest mistake. All up, it took me about a minute to farm the Elven Rage. It took me an extra 30 seconds of playing around with Zog to dodge to make sure I could keep the Elven Rage, and then I wasn't able to actually utilise the skip that saves me around 2.5 minutes. After a very frustrating Balrog fight, I kind of just went into autopilot and I started doing the old route. This route has been changed, and we fit Kirith in here first, so that we're able to get to a certain level and unlock abilities later on that help us in the best defense. So, thankfully, with the load remover, I only lose a few seconds here, but still frustrating to happen.
Let himself get slaughtered. He's on a base. So he takes over shark boars, and he thinks that makes him a conqueror. Oh, this man-filth has another think coming! I was planning to cook up some victuals, but when I open the cupboards, they're bare! Then, I look out on the field, and what do I see? Ingredients!
There isn't that much to say about this Kirith Siege. It goes fairly standard. I do get good RNG thanks to a manipulation I did earlier in the game, and I don't have a war chief guarding any of these points, which means it's basically just straight run, capture, summon my bodyguard, fight through this area, and try to build up any Elven Rage I can. There's not much else to say, so I'll let you enjoy.
Gonna die here. Scream for me! The Blood Axe will not let you proceed any further. Your attack upon this fort ends here.
This is a fairly standard Overlord fight. In fact, they get even quicker going later on. But essentially, we're just going to donk him as fast as possible.
Feet as they flee. While we feast in victory, they quake in fear, because they know that we are coming for them. Witness the rise of Mordor! Witness the rise of the Bright Lord!
Here, we finally unlock the most broken talent for speedrunning. Bestial Rage allows us to use our Caragor's health instead of building up might to perform a Caragor donk, or essentially an execution. What's even more interesting is that if we kill a captain with this ability, like we do with the Caragor donk, for some reason it doesn't actually take their health away, so we're essentially allowed free unlimited donks as long as we can keep our Caragor alive. Absolutely incredible, and it's going to be our bread and butter from now on. The best defense is a mission that can go really well or really poorly, and there doesn't seem to be any in between. Essentially, best RNG would be to not have a Beastmaster at the start, who's probably immune to the Caragor donk, and to get as little or no O-logs as possible. Thankfully, that line that he delivered was nice and quick, but we do have to fight him by traditional means because he's immune to the Caragor donk. Now it's really just Caragor donk any captain we can and continue on the mission as fast as possible.
Beasts suffer just as easy as you. Let me show you.
This fortress is already ours. You do not command it. You cannot defend it. All you can do is die within its walls.
Targeting the inner gate. If these orcs reach the keep,
Then that is where they will die.
Just to watch.
treason. We will retake our fortress. We will slaughter that wretched Olog and all who stand with him.
And what of the ones who stand with us? Clearly their loyalty cannot be trusted.
All who resist will be made an example of.
Ranger, there are 3 prisoners.
I really enjoy the flow of the first half of this mission. I also like the fact that the developers thought of, hey, if the person doesn't have enough orcs in this area, what are we going to do? So what they actually do here is you can see some of the orcs aren't actually my friends that are on the map. We're going to free them and they're instantly going to turn to my side because they were scorned by Bruise in some way. It's a really interesting little tidbit about development that I just find interesting.
Yes, you said 3, and we've got 1. I can count.
I serve the bright lord now. I swear it. Kill the bloods who did this.
Bruce was a horrible leader, but you I want to follow.
Welcome back,
So what was the plan? Rescue your boys? Bring them here for some kind of reckoning? You even brought along that little shrug-stained rat bag. Well, tell you what, I've got some friends too, me. Yeah, we can have a real party, a right shindig, yeah? We can have some grog, play a few fun party games like, pull the arms off the ranger. Have at it, boys.
I take a quick look around the room, and unfortunately RNG didn't go my way. My little Karagor buddy did not show up, so therefore I am stuck fighting this fight, as usual. Thankfully, we have full Elven Rage, so let's use that.
Such a bugger, Ranger. Wasn't supposed to go this way. You will see me again. Sure as striking a Karagor.
He won't get far. We will find him and use him to show all of Mordor what happens to those who oppose the Bright Lord.
Prepare yourself to be struck down by the darkness of Sauron. Pull out all your shiny weapons. Go ahead. I'll smash them all to pieces. Let's get it on! You like this? Just like that! Abandon your master and serve me! I live to serve, No harm will come to you. To the free. Now I'll serve the Bright Lord! We'll skewer them together! Traitors! I'm barely warmed up!
To say this went poorly is a bit of an understatement. This one orc kept destroying my army. I should have gone for him earlier, but, you know, that's hindsight for you.
This fortress is once again under my command. An attempted rebellion has been put down. Its conspirators have been put to the sword. Its leader will soon suffer the same fate. You now hold this fortress for the Bright Lord! Here, my enemies will find no weakness, no mercy, only the unassailable strength of my army!
with that, Nirn is done, and it's time for our first visit to Saragost. It's going to be a fun one. I really love the way this movement feels. We first jump onto this middle tower, we then jump onto a little ridge sticking out of the mountain, and then finally we use our skin warping technique. This is not very used in the game, but it is really, really cool. So when you switch your skin, the game is going to try to set you back to a checkpoint. It will look for the closest one most of the time, there are some exceptions. And in this case, it warps us up the mountain and over the hill. Saves us about a minute and a half, and we need to take this Hadir anyway for later on.
Targoroth fouls earth and sky, plows a path of flame. Haste, haste, haste! It rages across land, scorches a path.
Alright, it's time to finish off the Balrog. Unfortunately, this is a pretty bland boss fight for multiple reasons. This running part isn't too bad. The next section is actually kind of cool, where the Balrog is now chasing you through a cavern and you need to shoot down icicles. However, the boss fight itself is pretty lackluster. The biggest problem I have with it is there is essentially health gates that you cannot bypass. You must dive at the Balrog 4 times, and even if you damage the Balrog below those health gates, his health will just be stuck and you will not be able to push it lower until you do another dive.
The trees scream your name.
Tracks. No. It's doubled back.
Lies in wait to rain down fire.
Where are we going?
To ice. We go to ice. Burns. It burns all.
I always like to point this out, but the Balrog actually cheats here because I am so far ahead of it. It doesn't actually go onto those icicles like it's meant to, it goes to the left instead. Cool little tidbit.
What did he say?
Does it matter?
This Balrog is from another world.
It is up to us now, Talion. Now we must attack.
This isn't working!
This is what I mean with the Balrog's health. If you're looking at it very closely, you can see it's not moving at all. We're literally just sitting here firing on it and doing nothing, waiting for the next prompt to come up.
Right now, we must send this beast to the death.
Strike like thunder. Fall like rain. Drown
some of our
There isn't much to be
soldiers
said about this mission, outside of the fact that I take the wrong climbing angle here, so I'm forced to shimmy across before I can jump up. It's a very quick rescue guys mission, perform a Karagor donk on a captain. Pretty bland overall, but has a little bit of interesting routing.
I thought we were done for. My family thanks you, Ranger.
There are more of us out there, Ranger. We can't stop searching. Please. Finally. Been tied to this post for 2 days.
The Uruks use our soldiers as bait. Those are the lucky ones.
Have you managed to free many of your brothers?
Not enough. Some weeks we lose as many as we rescue.
You drew blood on the dark!
You saved us, Ranger. Thank you kindly, Ranger. I had given out.
Now he's bleeding a bit.
Thank you, Ranger. Time to spill some Uruk blood.
Something just he's dead.
Again, there isn't really much to say about these human missions. While they're interesting from a story perspective, they're pretty boring. The only thing I like to point out here is that when we take this Karagor, the game kind of freaks out and thinks we've killed the Karagor, so we get this interesting line.
You kill my beastie. I kill
Even though he's looking directly at his beastie.
So much the better.
Die, orcs!
You're alive!
For now, let's deal with these orcs first.
She's a true warrior. She fears nothing anymore.
Yes, that's the problem.
You shouldn't have come here, man swine. Should have stayed content with that pathetic fort Ratbag handed you. We are Sauron's masters of warfare. We are the ones who drive his enemies before us. We are the reason their screams echo across Mordor.
Alright, time for our third siege. Unfortunately, there's not much I can really point out here. Usually during siege, I talk to chat, I have a good time. I'm not streaming in this one, obviously, so you're just going to have to watch and enjoy. Thankfully, this goes really, really well. I get some good RNG, some good orcs, and not too many O-logs that I can't donk.
Try to conquer Dark Lord's fort? Better chance of conquering, son! Push forward, to the square! Steps towards victory, but many more remain. And the next one is the toughest yet. Getting through me. Keep going to the training grounds. Hit him hard! Watch out! Seize the cat! I can snap bones like twigs!
You've made it all the way here, only to discover that you're outclassed. Frankly, you don't stand a chance against me.
I'll be happy to prove you wrong.
I love how these Overlord fights go. You spend all this time sieging the castle, it's this big epic thing, and then because of glitches, we really just have to run up and donk him. Here it takes me a couple of seconds longer because I have to get him off his mount and I have to get him standing back up, but you get the general gist of it.
Taught him the folly of challenging us. Now he knows that the Bright Lord and his army will not be stopped. Mordor will
Witch King secures his citadel with a veil of shadow.
Now we get to do my favourite set of missions. Also, shoutouts to Atariel, the entire Shadow of War community, well, the vast majority of them. Don't like you, but you will always have a special place in my heart. Unfortunately, that wasn't an intentional failure, I just jumped to the wrong location. We are trying to skip this entire escort quest by jumping over some very specific kill planes. Let's watch how we're actually meant to do it now.
A gift. That is one way to put it.
We are here for the Plantia.
So fun fact, this is the fight where we actually found the high ground glitch on. Believe it or not, it is possible to perform the high ground on Nazgul. You need to be able to do it while in Elven Rage, and it is far harder than performing it on Orcs, yet this is where I found it. Very, very fun. Unfortunately, because I don't have Elven Rage, we're just going to fight straight up fight Sul'dan here. Nothing much really interesting goes on during this fight, so I'll let you just enjoy. Alright, back to Saragos for another mission. This one can go one of two ways. If you're able to keep control of Hammerhead, and I'm going to annoy everyone by calling him Hammerhead, but I'm so used to calling him Hammerhead at this point, you'll have to deal with it. It's quite an easy fight. However, if you lose control of him, this fight can get extremely messy very quickly because the beasts spawning get out of control really, really fast.
His powers are limitless.
「
not claim him!
His wounds will slow him. What about yours?
Unfortunately, this is another mission that shows off my really poor archery skills. It is somewhere in the vicinity of about 10 to 15 seconds here just by my poor shots.
Of all Helm's servants, the Drakes are most dangerous.
One, we could turn the weapon of the enemy against him.
Like a ring of power. You do nothing to dispel my fears, Elflord.
What happens to the Nazgûl when they are defeated?
Their spirit endures. It returns to Barad-dûr, growing in strength until it can again take physical form.
So, they are banished from death.
My master commands that you serve him, but your she-elf friend...
Now here is my third big mistake of this fight. I didn't check my Elven Rage before going into this. I am very slightly too low, which means that this fight is going to get out of control very, very quickly. With Elven Rage, this fight is over within 10-15 seconds. Without it, this fight can get really, really messy really, really quickly. Alrighty, we're on the final stretch. We've only got a few things left to do. We've got to do one final Atariel mission. We have to take the fort. And then finally, we'll unlock the final mission. I also find it really interesting, outside of the fact that I slightly misplaced this jump, how our movement tech has come along. We started off by running to each location, then we grabbed a Caragor and started using that to run. Now we're sort of blinking and teleporting all across the map. It's a lot of fun and showcases the evolution. I almost wish there was more of this in the run, and there used to be. However, because of HBE, and we lost some levels, a lot of the teleporting that we do has now been cut out in favour of just going faster.
Whenever I find you, I know the Nazgûl must be close.
As long as you wear that...
This mission just feels super cool to do. It flows very well and it's pretty fun. On top of that, we all know ghosts are super allergic to fire, so the moment we hit this campfire, we can just run away and let them burn to death. We now spawn camp a ghost, which sounds insane. The next part of this mission, we're really doing things in a very specific order to set ourselves up and Atariel up for a little glitch. And I'll talk about that when we get there. So just note, this is the start of the glitch. We're going to send a Tara to kill this guy, which takes her very far away from where she actually needs to be to trigger an event coming up.
Now they are my slaves.
Return to your rest.
Here is the second part of the glitch. We're going to not kill this ghost ourselves. Instead, we're going to get a Tara to do it. Now, we're going to position ourselves along this wall right near these stack of bones. And as we've done this correctly, there's meant to be a cutscene that plays here, but if we're already standing in the place where Isildur is meant to spawn, it instead skips the cutscene and we get straight into the fight, saving us about 20 seconds.
Get into the light, Talion!
Where is he?
Isildur will raise more of Gondor's fallen. I will track him. You and I will meet again.
Well, as long as I wear this ring, I'm sure that is true.
He swells his ranks as...
All enemies have a weakness.
or a strength that can be used to our advantage.
Alright, here we are, the final siege. Now, if you were wondering why I've been collecting orcs into my inventory this entire time, not that I grabbed that many, you'll now sort of figure out why. What I'm doing essentially is all of those orcs in my inventory, when deployed to a full battlefield, will instantly kill a very high level captain. Really, really cool. And it essentially, because Gorgoth is so littered with captains, there's a very high chance one of these captains they're killing was a bodyguard to a war chief that will be part of this siege. Now this is really important if you're interested in running the game. For some reason, right now, my Caragor and my captain are unavailable. If I start the siege before they become available, like they did right there, they will be locked out for the entirety of the siege. They are really useful, and you do not want that happening. Alright, this is by far the hardest mission in the game. The Gorgoth Siege contains a lot of high level captains, a lot of captains in general, really tough war chiefs. It's quite a slog. We can only hope that we get a few captains that are our level that we can take and bring onto our side to continue moving fast in this siege. Essentially, there is not much that can go right, and there is a lot that can go wrong in this siege. So I'll leave you to it and enjoy.
Knowing what you do to them? See, that's the difference with us.
We like a bit of abuse, and we give as good as we get. You haven't come to conquer this fort. You've come to provision it. Lots of lovely slabs of meat stuffed into our larders and our bellies.
Boys are ready to storm the walls, boss. Not sure what we'll find in there, but I'm guessing it will be scrumptious.
Have a chance of capturing any part of this fortress? I will try to stop laughing long enough to kill you.
Ranger. We barely stake you. Choke on it! Defend the training ground! Time to be it! It's no! Come on! You gonna help me? Get back! Hey, come on! I'm tired! I am your shadow! You're so help me! Watch for rocks! Stop showing off! On your knees! I scorn you!
Only one war chief remains.
Shut you up! I'm wounded! Fresh meat! I'm wounded! That did the trick! Get his leg!
I hope they told you outside. I play rough.
Well, they didn't tell me much. They were too busy dying or fleeing.
captured his fortresses and made them our own! Now, we stand at the very edge of history! Only one conquest remains, and Mordor will be ours!
Alright, here we are, the very final mission. Something I always find really interesting is it's always guaranteed to get an O-log on this first wave, so we hold our Caragor off until we make sure we take care of the O-log.
Never thought I'd hear that!
Little man with toy army. We play before, we play again.
I don't know!
I think you've made the Dark Lord angry.
This is only the beginning. On a slide.
Sauron's throwing his entire army at us!
Then he will lose it all.
They get the job done, in their own way.
You look exhausted. Ten, do you have enough strength to throw yourself on my spear?
Here, unfortunately, we see our final big mistake of the run. There is a quick kill on Isildur here that I completely stuff up. Unfortunately, we have to go through the entire fight like normal. It's very, very frustrating, but it is what it is.
I'm pushing! You worry about your orcs!
has ended, Earth Lord. It is done. We will devour Middle Earth. The Dark Lord will remake you. I died and he brought me back to this.
Here, we've got two objectives in mind. First, we need to get our Elven Rage up to full by the time we finish capturing all 4 of these locations. The second one is obviously we need to capture these as fast as possible. Something that's not well known in the community is that your regular orcs do actually slightly increase your capture speed, and conversely, having enemy regular orcs in the circle slows down that capture speed. So what we're going to be doing is using the new Nazgul Raise Dead to raise a bunch of orcs to increase the amount of people we have inside the circle. Well, that's it. We've stormed the castle, and it's time to fight the Witch King. Which king, you may ask? Well, this king. While what I would not deem a major mistake, I do want to point out here that I completely missed this phase. I could have one-cycled the Witch King here had I got the stun there, but instead I dodged because I'd miscounted the amount of attacks he'd done, which then puts me into phase 2. Thankfully we recover pretty quick, and we end up getting sort of what I would call a 1.5 cycle, which is good enough.
Your day has come, brave walker. You will join the night.
I should probably talk about why we set this fight back to Brutal. It's really quite simple when we think about it. The fight isn't that much harder on Brutal, but the main bonus is that instead of having to take 3 sword swings to get a half might bar and fill it back up, it only takes us 2 sword swings. So it's much quicker overall. We end up saving about 30-40 seconds just by switching it to Brutal here. And now to enrage every single Lord of the Rings fans all at once, it's time to fight Mecha Sauron. Or as I like to call him, 3 hobbits in a suit. I just want to say, if you're still here and still watching, thank you so much. I had planned to make a lot more content this year. However, as I mentioned before, I'm not going to go into details, but I am a bit unwell at the moment. So I will be making what I can, but it's going to be at a slower pace. This is probably going to be my last run because speedrunning takes a lot more out of me than making some other content. So I really hope you enjoy. I really hope there's new runners coming in the future that get benefit out of this run, out of this narration. And of course, I'm around for as long as I'm around on Discord and anything else if you want to talk, or in the comments below. Again, thank you. This is the last time the voiceover is going to happen. The next time you hear a voice is actually my live reaction. I unmute my mic at the end of the run and I talk about the run a little bit. So thank you and enjoy. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. That's a new PB. Holy crap, that's quite a big PB too. Could have even been bigger had I not made a few mistakes, but wow. I think I'm done with this category for a while. I'm really happy. That wasn't perfect, but that was... Jeez, it's going to be hard to top this one. I guess hi YouTube. I wasn't expecting this to be a YouTube one. Hence why I'm pretty silent throughout the whole thing, but... Wow, it's amazing what I can do with a bit of focus. I don't know what else to say. That's so cool. That's so good. I'm just going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Thank you.